Doctor.
Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we would like to welcome Mr. Shahid Rasool. Today we have, we'll just tell you a little bit information about Mr. Shahid Rasool, who is going to present today about acing tough interviews. Mr. Shahid Rasool is the Deputy CEO of Oman West, and he is also the Group President of International Business. He has over 25 years of experience, and he held the various leadership responsibilities at different prominent investment firms, including in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE. He has managed substantially large investment platforms across equities, bonds, and alternative investments, covering different regional and international markets. He has a CFA, Certified Financial Analyst, a charter holder, and he received his MBA from University of Chicago Booth School of Business in the US. With this impressive feedback that we have, so I will leave the floor for Mr. Shahid Rasool. So we will have about approximately from 30 to 40 minutes kind of discussion by Shahid Rasool, and then we will have the questions. In the meantime, if you have any questions that you would like to have, you please feel free to keep them or post them in the chat room, and then later on Mr. Shahid will see all these questions and we will go over them. In the meantime, please mute your microphone. We just allow Mr. Shahid Rasool to have the talk. So please make sure to switch off or mute your microphone. Brother Shahid, the floor is yours. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Brother Sami. I appreciate it. And a warm welcome to all participants this morning. First of all, I would like to say that whatever we discuss today, will leave you with some ideas, some takeaways. But this will always be useless if you don't act. If you don't act vigorously, you don't follow through, this will all be useless. So keep that in mind. With that call to action, let me first share with you my own interview experience at Oman West, which is one of the largest investment companies in the region and also by far the biggest investment company in Oman. In 2014, I was interviewing with Oman West for the role of Chief Investment Officer. By that time, I already had about 20 years of experience working in the Middle East, as Brother Sami mentioned, in different countries, and also some in the US and in Pakistan. And I knew Oman, by the way. I used to come here for business meetings. However, how did I prepare for the interview and how I did all that preparation? That's what I want to share with you today. So when I got to know the opportunity at Oman West, I went into an intensive research mode. I began refreshing myself on Oman's economy, political situation, major sectors here like banking, telecoms, industry, services, tourism. Then I looked into major business groups, the top 10 different big businesses in the country. That gave me a comprehensive overview of what's going on in Oman, right? The macro picture. Then I focused on Oman West. What Oman West is all about. I looked into Oman West's last 5 years annual reports, income statement, balance sheet, cash flows, investment portfolio, their major investments, strategy, track record, performance. Then I focused on their management team of Oman West at that time, who they are, what's their profile like. Then I looked into the board of directors of the company, major shareholders. This kind of research over days and weeks enabled me to know everything about Oman West. And I was in a position to come and have a meaningful discussion with the leadership team at Oman West. discuss ideas, strategy, what I will do, how I fit in. And I got to know the culture and values of Invest and its shareholders. You call it preparation. Actually, it's not a preparation. I call this a mission, that when you want a job, you must know that you are in a stiff competition with other very capable people in the market. And then you go in a mission mode and you prepare for that interview like that. So luckily, I was very lucky and blessed. I got this job and I've been here more than 7 years now with Invest. So I wanted to share with you my personal experience for a senior interview, senior role. Let me take you back about 25 years. In mid-90s, when I came to Middle East from Pakistan, I applied for a job with Riyadh Bank in Saudi Arabia for investment analyst. So how I prepared and applied for that job, from sitting far away in Pakistan, applying to a job in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, that's much more important, a lesson for young people like you. So the job was for investment analyst, and I put together a very well written, very thoughtful cover letter, why I want this job and how shall I contribute. Then I put together my CV next to my cover letter. CV was also very well drafted, carefully written with all the keywords. And then I also attached my published investment reports on various sectors. So this was like a big pack. I prepared and I shipped to Riyadh, to the bank. After submitting my application, again, I went into a mission, not interview preparation, but a mission that I really want this job. So I began studying about Saudi Arabia, the Saudi economy, petrochemicals, oil prices. There are major sectors like banking, telecom, cement, industry, services. Then I focused on Riyadh Bank itself, which is one of the top 4 banks in Saudi Arabia today. And then I got to know how they invest, what's their investment policy, strategy, track record, portfolios like. Then I further researched the GCC markets like Kuwait, UAE, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain. So by the time I was interviewing for that investment analyst position with the Riyadh Bank, I was well versed with what's going on here and can have a very meaningful discussion with my interviewer. Luckily, again, I was blessed. I got the job, and I was told later on there were more than 400 applications for one position. So you never think that competition is low at any time. Competition was intense 25 years ago. Competition is intense today. So you need to have the same level of super preparation for a job and for the interview. What happens? Way over 90% of the applicants, students, do not prepare very well. They prepare somewhat. They don't prepare very well. And therefore, a lot of good students, a lot of intelligent people struggle for jobs because they miss the point that to get a job, you have to have a super interview preparation like a mission. I hope you get this point and you remember it, what it takes to get a job, and it's not easy out there. I applied the same principle of preparation for all my subsequent jobs in the Middle East. I've been on like 5-6 jobs in the last 25 years. And Alhamdulillah, I want to tell you that due to preparation and taking this thing very seriously, I have always gotten the job offer. So the success rate is almost 100% for me, because I take it super seriously when I have to go for an interview in the preparation. And my passion. I show my passion for the job. I really want this job. How shall I contribute? And I prepare for it. So That's like going for a football match after 4 years, the World Cup. You take it seriously. Now, with that main point made, my personal experience, I want to share with you some typical interview questions we get asked, and how you as a candidate can possibly answer those questions to make more impact. For example, question number 1, they ask you, tell us about yourself, right? You can spin long stories, or you can be very focused on what exactly is relevant for the job. What's relevant is your education, your experiences, and your personal side. Who are you as a person? Now, in the education part, don't say that you are a brilliant student, or you got all straight A's or A pluses, or you are on the dean's list for 4 years. Never ever talk about those things. When you talk about your education part, you talk about your love of learning. You talk about what really interests you in academics. For example, if I am graduating in finance or investments, I'll talk about, I should talk about my interest in portfolio management, investment research, capital markets, trading, or maybe mergers or acquisitions, right? So, and then you talk about examples to illustrate where you want to excel in terms of your focus, academics and real life. Then you talk about your experiences, your training, paid jobs, internships, projects. Don't talk about the titles, that you are a supervisor or a manager, or you're a senior responsibility. Never ever talk about levels. Talk about what did you learn and how you contributed, what impact your work had on the job, on the employer. Third, as part of your intro, we're talking about your personal side. Who are you as a person? What do you do in your free time? Reading, writing, sports, music, volunteer work, community work, environment, teaching kids, whatever. What this does is, this defines you as a person. Who are you as a person beyond your academics and your professional job? And this is a great opportunity for you to connect with the interviewer, right? Because you need to come across as a very interesting person, as opposed to somebody who is, focused on books or focused on the job and focused on money, their whole career. You need to come across as a lively, interesting person beyond your excellent academic and professional background. So 3 things: education, experiences, and your personal side. And I suggest that you should be able to do this in 3 minutes. So what you need is a lot of practice, delivery, flow, practice over and over again, how you sum up your introduction in 3 minutes on these 3 important points. So we have covered question number 1. Tell us about yourself. Remember the points I just discussed with you guys. Question number 2 is, why do you want this job? Like, the company is asking you what's in it for you. So you got to explain that. You're not talking about salary, location, the perks, or the prestige of the company or the brand. You talk about why you want this job is because your passion. This is something you could do 24/7, 9 to 9, work 18 hours a day and not feel tired or bored. And this has been your dream for a long time, that you wanted this role, this opportunity, this responsibility, right? That's why you want this job. And then you talk about that this job, this position will help you realize your full potential, because you are skilled, you have talents which need to be nurtured and further polished. And this opportunity will enable you to utilize your skills. Third, you talk about the third point for this question. You talk about why you want this job is because of the people who work in this company, because of the community, because of the work environment, values, and culture. Again, a chance for you to connect with the interviewer. So he sees, he feels your personal side, that this guy is passionate and likable. And then question number 3. Question number 3 is, now the company asks you why we should hire you. What's in it for the company? So now you need to sell yourself and justify why the company should hire you. Here, you can again talk about many things. Foremost is your potential contributions. Be very specific in which areas you are going to contribute and benefit the company if the company hires you. You can talk about generating more revenues, saving cost, bringing some technical expertise, working on new products, doing some technical data analytics or research, or fixing some real problems facing the company. You talk about those specific situations, and then you articulate how you will help the company in those specific areas. And then you add and say that you are ready to go. You don't need much training now as such, because you are well prepared to undertake the responsibility. Third, you talk about the great mutual fit between you and the company in terms of your skills and responsibilities and the company's mission and values. So there are two things, you and the company, and then you try to establish a connection between you and the company and why this is a great combination, and therefore why the company should hire you, right? So this question is very important. You cannot be general, you cannot be vague. Oh, I'm going to work very hard and see my performance. No, you are going to cite specific areas where your contribution will come, and that you're ready to go, and you are going to be great combination with the company. So this is question number 3. We get asked a lot, right? Then question number 4. A lot of candidates get this question. Are you good in working in teams or working alone? Okay. Very tricky question, right? If you say I work better alone or I work better in companies, you don't know where this is going to go, right? So I suggest that you got to be versatile, flexible, and adaptable, and tell that there are situations where you work much more effectively alone because of the skill needed or because of the focus, speed, control that the assignment requires. And therefore, due to efficiency purposes, you can work very effectively alone. However, the point you want to make is that you thrive and flourish working in teams, because working in teams brings diversity, ideas, synergies, collaboration, and therefore you prefer working in teams. You are a great team player, but at the same time, you are capable enough, adaptable and flexible enough to be able to work alone if the job assignment requires so. So you are on both sides of the argument, but you are maintaining a balance. And that's a reality, by the way. In the workplace, like me, over the last 25 years, sometimes I have to work alone, essentially working alone on some confidential assignments, some time-sensitive matters, but mostly I work in teams. So you got to be able to handle both situations. So we have covered 4 questions. Another question is, another very common question is, what are your major strengths? This is something you're going to boast about your abilities. So the way you start is with humility. You don't boast about your strengths with a swagger, but you talk about your strengths and positive points with humility. And the way you put it, you don't say that you are, okay, let's talk about your academic accomplishments. Don't say that you have an outstanding academic background. That's one of your strengths. You could possibly say, I am gifted with a love of learning. See the difference it makes. It conveys the same message that you are passionate for learning, but you're not talking about your grades or your academic accomplishments. You don't say that I am super hardworking. It's a strength that everybody requires, but you don't say that, but you say, I can work 9 to 9, 6 days a week, and still be very engaged and passionate, because it shows you are into it. Don't say yet you are a genuine problem solver. Problem solving is sought after. Everybody wants people who can solve problems, but you don't say that I am a problem solver. You say, I seek challenges and I enjoy coming up with solutions. So that's how you frame your responses on questions to do with your strengths, right? Because selection of words matters. What you say and how you say it has a lot of impact. Another question is, what are your weaknesses? How do you handle this question? So you got to be realistic and truthful. Don't make up stuff. For example, if you are, but one thing is sure, that if you are interviewing for a job which requires marketing, sales, connecting with people, and you cannot say, or you should not say that I am struggling with my interpersonal skills. I need to build my interpersonal skills for a job that requires this very talent. If that is the case, you are going to be misfit. What you can talk about is unrelated weaknesses. For example, if you are interviewing for a job for computer programming or technology, you can admit, or you can say that my presentation skills or report writing skills are weak and I'm working on them. So it's critical that how you frame. You cannot tell that you are a control freak and you take absolute control of everything around you to make sure things are working well. That means an impossible situation for others to handle. But you can admit that I am sort of perfectionist at times, not always, sometimes, and that tends to slow down things because I seek perfection in my output, in my reports, in my delivery, in my end products. That shows a realistic combination of somebody who is like Steve Jobs, wants an idealistic iPhone to be made, right? Similarly, for other big like BMWs of the world, they want a perfect product. So it's important you put down your weaknesses, which are real, not made up, but they are not related to the job, so that they do not weaken the prospects of you getting the job. Another question we get asked is, actually this is question number 7, and I'll end my discussion about questions with this question. They ask candidates, do you have any questions for us? Way over 80% of people I come across and I interview, they actually say, so we don't have any questions. We're okay. That's very bad. That's very negative. Never do that. You should always have a very creative, intelligent question ready, actually a number of different intelligent questions ready for the interviewer, because that's a moment for you to engage with the interviewer and connect, as opposed to apologizing or saying, sorry, sir, I don't have any question. It doesn't cast a positive impression of the interviewee. So you must always ask a question. Now, what kind of questions you should ask? Never ask a yes or no question, or never ask a question which has its answer available on the website or in the public media. That means you as a candidate did not do your homework. You are asking simple, obvious questions, okay, that weakens your chances. Ask creative, thought-provoking questions like about the company's strategy, competition, big projects, future direction, major developments in the industry, positive or negative. You can also talk about, by the way, the major career paths for new people coming into the company. How can they find different career paths, and flourish in different areas? This will bring the interviewer with detailed answers. The interviewer will go back and kind of dig deeper and try to structure a proper response for you. If the interviewer is really engaged and trying to explain to you different questions, answers, that's very good for you, because that means you connected. You are connecting well with the interviewer. Your interview is going well, and you are engaging the interviewer. Now, at the end, I want to tell you that we have talked about the interview preparation, like a mission. We have talked about the important questions and how you should frame your answers and prepare your responses. At the end, I want to share with you a bigger takeaway, which is after you get your jobs, how do you flourish in your careers over time? Like 20, 30, 40 years. How do you do that? How do you grow, become more successful as a professional? So I call this foundations of a great career. There are a few points. You can get a job, but you can stagnate most of your life. I see a lot of people around who've been on the jobs and they have barely grown in the last 25, 30 years. They're stagnating. So what I've learned, my learning lessons in terms of the foundations of a great career, a great long-term career. Number one, mastery of knowledge. Because what you take away from a university is the foundation that you develop. So take it super seriously. As you build your foundations while you are in college or university, you need to be fixated on the idea of developing mastery in that area. For example, I am in finance and investments and economics. That's my background. So how I'm developing mastery in the field is by, on a scale of 1 to 10, I try to make sure that I'm very close to 10 and keep reinventing myself and improving myself. So that's mastery. Keep going and stay at the top of the curve, the top point. Now, I give you an example, what mastery entails. Like if I'm in finance and investments, I've got to have a great understanding and deep grasp of the global economy, capital markets, stocks, bonds, real estate, commodities, derivatives, public markets, private equity, due diligence, valuation techniques, portfolio construction, research, analysis, strategy. You see how many points I'm talking about when it comes to developing mastery in your field. So if you are into technology, marketing, finance, HR, operations, production, whatever, engineering, medicine, that's how you identify areas of excellence, areas of knowledge, and then you develop your expertise in all these different areas. That's number one, by the way, mastery of knowledge. Second is, the second building block, the second foundation is interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills are what? Reading, writing, presenting, communicating, talking to people, engaging with them. These are the most precious soft skills, by the way. And if you develop a decent interpersonal skills, communication skills, you will be among the top 1% in your field. What does that mean, by the way? That means big positions, senior positions, big salaries, big bonuses, and very rapid career progression over time. As opposed to this one, you'll be like this, going up because of interpersonal skills. Third is passion. Passion is what? When you talk to people, when you do your work, when you submit your work, present your work, complete your work, whatever, it should reflect passion, energy. This word is used widely, and everybody talks about passion, but few people have passion. And I would like to quote here the legendary investor Warren Buffett, who said, if you don't have passion, you will not have energy. And if you don't have energy, you have nothing. Keep that in mind, the power of passion and energy. Fourth point I want to make is, for building a flourishing career long-term, is perseverance. If your career is going to be 20, 25, 30, 40 years, it's a long period. You'll come across lots of ups and downs, bad economy, recessions, pandemics, maybe political conflicts, your personal family situation, lots of ups and downs. If you do not persevere, you will be off the track. You'll be outside the market and very difficult to come back and be on the track again. So persevere through thick and thin, through difficult situations. Everybody has moments of weakness or underperformance or difficult position. Only the ones who persevere will make to the end. And that's very important. You don't want to be jobless in your mid-40s and then pushed aside. So resilience matters, perseverance matters. Last thing I want to talk to you about, building a durable, flourishing career. The fifth foundation is positive attitude. Positive attitude means you are always optimistic, realistic, but optimistic. And that means likability, acceptance by other people, optimism. There are negative people out there, but they don't survive for long because the society, it's like a vomit. You know, the way somebody has indigestion and they vomit, negative people get vomited by the society over time. So you, as a person, as a professional, you cannot survive for long if you're negative. So this is the foundation of a long, flourishing careers. Keep this thing in your mind, but the real thing is action, hard work. There is no substitute to hard work, simple. With that, Brother Sami, I would like to conclude my discussion, and I'm very happy to take questions, if any. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Brother Shahid. I think this is really interesting, not only for the students and the people who are attending. I have myself learned a lot today from all of these wonderful points. I have many questions myself, but let me just take a few questions that I have from the people. So I have two questions here. You know, one of these questions by Abdulaziz, asking about you know, the area of weaknesses. I think you did mention, you know, about the strength of the candidates, and if he's being asked about what is your weaknesses, I think if you can illustrate more, you know, how candidates, you know, can manage this question by saying the truth about what are their weaknesses, but at the same time impressing those people and you know, having a positive you know, feedback about those candidates.
Very good. You're right. This question requires more elaboration. So what what young people can do is, the moment you know the job, what the job is all about, and what main skills and qualities it needs, you put down your own personal and professional strengths and weaknesses. And then you focus on weaknesses and put them on a paper. Okay? People think about it, they don't put them down on a piece of paper. What are my weaknesses? And I'll tell you, you'll struggle to put down your 10 weaknesses because people don't do that. Try it. Put down your 5 major weaknesses as a professional or maybe as a person. And pick the ones which are not really relevant to the job. Okay? For example, and also pick some which are relevant to the job. For example, I tell my colleagues here that I joke a lot, I make fun, we go out for lunch, dinner together, we socialize together, but I tell them repeatedly, I will run out of my temperament or I'll not be patient if I see underperformance for a long time period. If you keep underperforming, I lose my patience and I would be very tough. So at times, I can be very tough and that can be unpleasant at work. Now, if you are in a sales job, okay, which requires talking to people, presenting, just talking mostly on the phone or outside meetings, you can say I'm very weak in writing and I need some assistance to be able to write my reports, my client trips and visits, right? Because that's not one of your, that's not something you enjoy writing a lot, but you enjoy talking to people, right? There are some people who enjoy writing. You can give them a task, they can write all day long, but they have difficulty talking to people. So put down 5 weaknesses related or not related to the job, and then pick the ones you think will not impact negatively your chances to get the job, but also paint a realistic picture, right? So this requires you be honest to yourself and then take that action, which is putting down your weaknesses on a piece of paper.
Okay, great. Another question that we have by Salim. You know, normally you are going to have a shortlisted people for the interview, and you know, having all these kind of tricks, I won't say tricks, but also the reality, the truth that you have mentioned. But again, some people, they manage to practice this from the perspective of the employer, you know, how we can really select, you know, the best candidate from the interview itself, you know, how much that interview is going to tell us about the candidates themselves. On this, assuming that some people, they are really going to master these interviews, especially after taking your, or after listening to this session today.
So the concern is they will not be shortlisted for the interviews?
No, the concern that they are shortlisted, you have probably maybe 10 people for the interviews, and how from the interview you can select the best candidate. This is probably from the employer perspective.
Yes. You see, employers, they also take risks. They take a chance. They have no 100% visibility that they are really selecting the best ones. Sometimes we select a candidate we think is very good, but when they come and join, after 2 months, we find out we are disappointed. Okay, so it happens all the time. For candidates, if you develop the skills I'm talking about, the foundations, and then the interview prep, right? What will happen to you as a candidate? You might miss out in one opportunity, second opportunity, but you will click very quickly. You cannot keep missing a series of interviews if you prepare the way I proposed, building your foundations and then the preparation like a mission. If you find 5 interviews, the possibility is that at least one, you will get a job. Right? So the chances of you getting picked in the market will be skyrocketing if you follow what I said. But if you are not prepared, you're hoping for that you will click, you might not click even in 10 interviews.
Okay, Okay, great. Another questions that we have, two more questions, one by Muhammad and Amira also. Muhammad is asking about how we can build up, interrelationship with the people. This is always something, I would say it's part of it to the culture things, but again, how you have been raised within the family and within the community. But again, it's very important to have that interpersonal. So how, for those young people, is there some sort of specific skills or strategies or techniques that they can follow, since some of them, they are young and they are listening to us right now, how they can develop these interpersonal relationship that they have, and also how they can probably negotiate on the salaries. That is another question by Amira. How they can probably, those people, they are not at the first stage, probably. I'm not sure if the first stage people, the juniors who have just started, they can negotiate on the, in reality, on the salary. But I would assume in the second level, how can those people probably negotiate on salaries too?
Very good. Both are great questions. On interpersonal skills, they don't happen overnight. And I understand the cultural part and the shyness and the family system and all that stuff. When I talk about interpersonal skills, I mean just meeting people in professional capacity, education, jobs, and connecting with people. Okay, if you are prepared the way I said you should prepare in terms of your knowledge base and your interview skills and your communication skills, if you meet 10 people in the industry, let's say you find a job, you want to find a job in banks. If you meet 10 people in various banks, Bank Muscat, NBO, Bank Sohar, other banks, okay? 10 people, not the CEOs, but people who are somewhat senior, like a senior manager or a director, one of them at least within 3, 6, 9 months will be so impressed from your passion and abilities, they will try to find something for you. Okay. So it takes time. So what you need to do is, interpersonal skills means going out, talking to people, meeting them, reaching out, introducing yourself, sending email, just calling, asking for time. I give you one example. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, when he was 14, he called Hewlett-Packard, the founder of Hewlett-Packard, right? And he said, I need some used equipment to be able to make frequency counters he was building, right? He called him and he took up the phone. He said, oh, young man, okay, I'll give you the used equipment. And if you want, you can also do an internship at Hewlett-Packard. So Steve Jobs got the job as well. And he said, I was in heaven. You can Google it. When he talks about his internship at Hewlett-Packard, how he got it. It was a cold call. Just picking up the phone, sending an email out, calling somebody, introducing yourself, and telling what you need, what you can do. If you make 10 such calls, I'm sure one will work within a year, within 6 months. So you have to open up and ask for help, connect with people. That's one. The other question was about salaries. Never ever negotiate your salary. Never talk about your salary as you are just beginning your career. Just focus on work. The opportunity, responsibility, job, salary will come. I started my career actually with no salary as such. There was no salary. And then it catches up to you, because as you start producing high quality work, contribution, reports, analysis, customer work, business development, marketing, sales, as you do meaningful work, the salary catches up very quickly. Never focus on salary, especially when you begin to develop start your career. To tell you the truth, even today, in my senior roles, like for Arm Invest, I never negotiate salary. I never talk about salary, because salary just follows.
That's a great advice that we have. Another question also, I think recently we have the practice when there is any vacant position that is available within the organization, there is an internal announcement probably they will have. And so they are going to select people from within the company, but these are senior positions that they have. So is it going to make a difference in terms of the interview process and practice and the techniques that I probably as a candidate should be following? Because people, they know you. I mean, you are within that organizations, people, they know you. How you can really impress them that you are really the right candidate for these positions. People, they have been working with you probably for a long period of time. So is it going to make a difference, these kind of interviews? And I would say, I think that is a question by Riyami. I couldn't really pronounce her first name, so just not to make something wrong with her name, but I think Riyami.
Sure. Very good question, actually. A lot of senior people I know, they struggle with it. What I told you is the foundations, is that your core skills you should always have. They're not good for this and not good for the other one. They're your building blocks. You should always have them. They will distinguish you from everybody else. Now, when you are competing for senior jobs in the company, then it's not something you're going to establish overnight. You should have demonstrated well before that through your contributions, volunteer, collaboration, coordination, that you're very good in that function. Okay? Because you can also do that job very effectively, and that you need to establish well before that opening comes up. So that means you start building your ship before the water comes, right? Before the way Noah did, right? You build your ark before it floods, because if there could be an opening next year in these areas where you're interested, you start doing your work well before that. So you have a reputation in the workplace with the senior management, with the board, with the CEO, with your immediate boss, your other senior colleagues, that this person, Miss Riyami or Fatima or Ahmed or Ali, oh, this guy is also fantastic in the following areas because they've been helping, contributing, cross teams. So their decision becomes very easy. Although they advertise and do a formal process, they already know who they want for the job.
Great. I think really these are all the questions that we have, but I just want to go back to some of these really points that you did mention. I think one of the key words is the concept of passion. And I think this is really the key when you are going for an interview. You need to make sure that when you are talking, you have that passion toward the things that you are doing. So even though you are young, but make sure that you have that passion when you are talking to the people. It's not about salary, it's not about prestiges, it's not about the standards, it's not about this, but it is how you can have that, passion. And I think by having that passion by itself, this is going to tell the people more about, the knowledge that you have, about the skills that you have. And other than the passion is also the concept of knowledge and skills. We all need to continue the learning process. Knowledge is something that you have to acquire every day. It's not related to a certain job. It's not related to a certain position that you have. And also the skills, there are so many or different set of skills that we have that we need to have it on daily basis, monthly basis. And I think since we are toward the end of this year, I think this is one of the plans that you have for the next year. Probably, how many books you have read, what is the new knowledge that you have, what is the skills that you have, do you have more passion toward the things that you are doing right now? Because we always hear about situations where people, they are not that comfortable in what they are doing. I mean, they have not really tried to develop that passion and that love toward the things that they are doing. And this is also something that we advise the students and the people that we meet, that they should really have that, passion toward the major that they are taking and toward the work that they are doing. So probably one last thing that you probably mentioned about these kind of, I would say, the magical words that you mentioned today about, passion, knowledge, and skills.
Yeah. This is so true, Brother Sami, that I'm telling you, I'm, alhamdulillah, thanks to the Almighty, I'm in a senior position and a very sense of responsibility in my company. Even today, despite all this, I take nothing for granted. Every day is a new day I have to perform, and I passionately prepare. Even today, I work on my presentation skills. Sometimes I don't do well. Sometimes I underperform. Sometimes I'm not at my best. So even today, I work on my presentation skills. I work on my writing skills. Even today, I polish them, I learn new, I edit myself, and I seek help from others. So it never ends. I cannot take this for granted, and that's what a young person should think. So I call it preparation, passion, practice, and you cannot fail. You cannot be left behind. I left Pakistan in mid-90s. Pakistan's economy was struggling in a recession. They are still struggling. So what I'm saying, your environment may not change for a long time in your lifetime, but you can make a difference for yourself by working super hard, learning from others, learning from your mistakes, and being very resilient and keep going. So these are a few things I wanted to share with you guys today. And thanks for your time and all the participants' time. I hope somebody benefits and they work on it.
Well, at the end, I would like to thank Shahid Rasool, the Deputy CEO for Manvest, and the Group President for the International Business. We have really appreciated the time and the effort. We have been trying to manage to do this for a while now, but alhamdulillah, we managed to do it, and it was really very nice. So I would like to thank all the participants today. So thank you very much for everyone.
Thank you all. Good luck. Bye-bye.
Thank you.